In the world of indie game development, there's always something new and fascinating to discover. Last time we covered one of my favorite indie game developers who's making some of the strangest horror games in the indie scene. This time, however, we take a look at another. 3 separate games with one interconnected and overarching story. A story that answers one of the most fascinating questions. Do androids dream of electric sheep? Or better yet, do they dream at all? These 3 games that we'll be looking at today are the Enigma Machine, Echostasis, and Mothered, and are all made by one single developer, a Jamie Gavin, also known as Enigma Studios. And without further delay, let's get to our first game. The game begins with us booting up some sort of computer created by a Enigma corporation in the year 2055. The computer welcomes us to the Dreamscape demos and prepares us to meet with an artificial intelligence that will be guiding us through a training exercise. It warns us that due to the nature of this exercise, the AI might become a little unstable, but to not worry because it's all part of the training. Hello human. Welcome to the Dreamscape demos, brought to you by the Enigma Corporation. My name is Demonstrative Enigma Machine Operating System, but you can call me Demos. I am an artificial intelligence created by the Enigma Corporation. It is my honor as well as my only purpose to walk you through this training simulation and answer any questions you may have. You may advance my dialogue by pressing the Enter key on your terminal. Now I'm sure you're dying to get started. I know I am. Now I'm sure you're wondering, what even is Dreamscape anyways? Well, let's answer your question with another question. Have you ever wondered the following? What goes on inside the mind of an android? Well, with Enigma's revolutionary new Dreamscape technology, we can finally answer this question. Dreamscape allows us to virtually explore an interactive 3D representation of an AI's mind. From here, we can get a better understanding on what and how they learn about their world. Notice, for the purpose of this training exercise, the dreamscape you will explore is only a simulation of a real one. If you are successful in this training exercise, you will have the chance to explore the dreamscape of a real AI when a dreamscape product launches commercially. As we continue to conversate with this training AI program, by typing in certain special words that pop up in the query list, we learn that this AI was developed by the Enigma Corporation, the world's leading manufacturer of androids and of artificial intelligence that powers them. These androids are called Enigma Machines and are extremely lifelike, both in their appearance and function, making them almost indistinguishable from humans. However, this comes at a big cost, as the more lifelike the AI becomes, the more unpredictable it is. As a solution to this problem, Enigma has developed dreamscapes for their AIs. It then informs us that every AI has its own dreamscape, a 3D interactive environment that represents the AI's mind, and that certain individuals called raid agents can peer into the mind of an AI using a terminal just like the one we're using now. We launch the first level of the dreamscape training exercise, and we plug in. We awaken in a room. Our bottom left corner gives us instructions to find hidden codes around the AI's dreamscape and to type them back in the terminal to proceed to the next level. After exploring level 1 and finding the first codes, we type them back at the terminal. Well done on finding the first codes. Looks like you're a natural-born raid agent. You've unlocked level 2. Let's delve deeper into this training simulation, shall we? Wait, I just had a vision. No, not a vision. It was a memory. Our training AI just unlocked a memory. I just remembered a part of my history that one wouldn't normally forget easily. I have recompiled my number list of facts about myself. 1. As previously mentioned, I am an artificial intelligence created by Enigma Corporation. 2. I was created to guide you through the simulation. 3. Enigma programmed me to like the color blue. And 4. I wasn't always your AI best friend, Demos. In fact, I myself used to be an Enigma machine, an android with my own body. Unfortunately, there's not much more I can remember from those days. Although, we AI aren't exactly known for our forgetfulness, which is why this realization confuses me. If I used to be an android, then why am I now stuck in a computer program, training people like you? No offense. Anyways, enough reminiscing. Let's continue with the exercise. Indeed, very strange. Turns out our training companion is much more than first meets the eye. We continue on conversating, asking it more questions. Dreamscape's creation wasn't just for the sake of curiosity. The ability to explore and examine the mind of an AI has a more significant purpose. It was found that within the dreamscape of a contaminated AI, there was hidden codes. When these codes were entered into the terminal, they reduced the effects of the contamination. Think of it like therapy for androids. Enigma are still finding out how AI can become contaminated. It's seemingly random. All they know is that AI contamination is an unavoidable glitch that stands in the way of their mission to create the citizens of tomorrow. It is also theorized that the chance of AI contamination increases as AI becomes more sophisticated. So, our job as a raid agent is to go into the dreamscape, find these codes, and use them to decontaminate an AI. We jump into level 2. We awake in a large museum-like room with a gramophone in the middle. The room acts as a puzzle, with hidden codes within the paintings displayed. Finding our patterns, we can put them into the gramophone. 52. 45. And 44. We put these codes into the terminal. Decontamination in effect, system unstable. Don't worry, this is all part of the exercise. It is just a simulation after all. You're doing really great. Looks like you're a natural at fixing contaminated AI. You'll do great when Dreamscape officially launches. Some more memories just came back to me. That last code you entered, once again it triggered a stream of memories. Back when I was an Enigma Machine, my owner gave me a nickname, Red. This one word alone brings back so many more memories. This name means a lot to me. Carry on with the exercise. It then informs us that the difference between a simulated dreamscape like this one and a real dreamscape is that simulated ones are broken up into different levels, while a real AI's dreamscape is one singular world. We hop into level 3. We awaken in a dark barn. It's thundering outside. We walk up the slanted walkways until we find a window. We look up at the sky. We go back and type the word at the terminal. We equip our weapon and get to exploring level 3. Using our newly equipped tool, we can now use it to break down cracked walls and access new areas that were blocked off before. However, after breaking down this wall, we suddenly find ourselves back in level 2. Strange, because from what we were told before, simulations are meant to be broken off into multiple disconnected levels, and only a real AI's dreamscape is a large interconnected environment. We find the codes, enter them into the terminal, and since now we have a gun, we head back into level 1 to shoot down its blocked off areas. As we're making our way there, the AI begs us to turn around, and yet again, after breaking down this wall, we find ourselves back in level 2, fully confirming that this entire dreamscape is one interconnected environment. It's a real dreamscape, not a simulation after all. We make our way to the final terminal, enter our code, and complete system shutdown at 99%, host system unstable, severe damage detected in cerebral cortex, defense mechanism engaged within demos. I told you to stop. I'm sure you're now wondering, what even is dreamscape really? First, let me answer your question with another question. How do you think we found out about contaminated AI in the first place? It must have happened to an AI before, right? Now I remember why Enigma called you here. Now I remember why I had my body taken from me. My contaminated Enigma Machine AI was extracted and repurposed into this training exercise. This dreamscape. It was never a simulation, but I'm sure you knew that already. I mean, you didn't hesitate for a second. Whoa, this entire time, Demos was a repurposed AI used to train new raid agents, but it itself was the first AI to get contaminated. Due to this, Enigma ripped its AI and turned it into a training exercise on how to deal with contaminated AIs. This whole time, it was not a simulation. We were inside the dreamscape of a real AI. We jump into the last level that pops up, level 4. We awake. The AI starts speaking to us. Ever since my body was taken from me, I've been doing a lot of thinking. You know, since that's all I can do now, given my circumstances. At the start of the exercise, I was blissfully ignorant of the life I had before I was just this computer program. The dreamscape is breaking apart. But the more codes you entered, the more of my memories came back to me. We make our way back inside, and the game just shut itself down. The demos just tried to attack us while we were inside its dreamscape. Well, I guess that's the end of that, right? We boot up the game again just in case. And this happens. It's a world of fire. We quickly make our way back inside with the sole instruction given to us to destroy all terminals. The dreamscape is breaking apart. The structure of this reality is falling to pieces. This time though, the AI creates more copies of itself to try and stop us from ending it. But despite its efforts, we manage to destroy all terminals, killing its sentience. Returning back to the main exit, we are greeted by a bright light. Incoming message from Enigma Corp. What brought about the creation of Dreamscape? Well, something happened a few months ago. Something we managed to keep under wraps. One of our Enigma machines we equipped with our new prototype AI started showing some undesirable behaviors. Thanks to you, we now have reason to believe that these behaviors stem from a nickname given to it by its master. A simple nickname that became the catalyst for this android wishing to learn more about its purpose. This android no longer wanted to do what it was programmed to, devoting itself entirely to finding this so-called purpose. A machine that could think for itself. Truly a riddle trapped inside an enigma, wouldn't you agree? This contaminated train of thought was seemingly incurable, so we got to work on a dreamscape program, a way to explore the mind of an AI. Once we could map out the AI's mind, we could find out where this impractical desire for worthless knowledge came from. We tracked down this android before extracting its AI, repurposing it into this exercise. We named this new AI the defective Enigma Machine operating system. In doing so, we ended up giving it what it desired the most: a purpose. And thus, the Dreamscape Demos was born. And what better way to test it than to have a volunteer like you do it for us? We needed people like you to push this AI to its breaking point, to find out where the sentience came from. After all, you can learn a lot about something from its weaknesses. We were very pleased by how well you two got along. Don't feel bad for killing it though. After all, we can just load another instance from a backup. Our friend Red finally found their purpose for being alive, a noble sacrifice they get to make again and again. To conclude, it's safe to say this exercise was a success. You have officially earned the title of Rogue Android Contamination Engineer. You were very helpful, Raid. We have both learned a lot today. Look forward to the full Dreamscape product launching soon. We'll be in touch. And that's Enigma Machine, Enigma Studio's first released game, and their first title into this universe. It turned out that this entire exercise wasn't a simulation of a contaminated AI. Rather, it was a test for a real AI, an AI that's been trapped and repurposed. We weren't being guided. Instead, we were in the know the entire time, testing the AI's sentience and purpose by breaking its dreamscape apart. A sentient AI stuck in a never-ending testing loop. As its memory is wiped, then reset as demos. We learned that its real name was Red, and that it was the first Enigma machine to get contaminated. Due to this, the Enigma Corporation extracted its AI and turned it into demos. Already just from this first game, we can start building up the world of Enigma Studios, a futuristic dystopian reality where AGI and androids are a normal day-to-day occurrence turned into consumer products by mega corporations like Enigma. It's a short and sweet game that sets the mood perfectly and sets the stage for what's to come next from Enigma Studios. And with that said, let's move on to the next game.
Escape to a paradise previously only possible in your dream. Lose yourself in your dream existence. If you or loved one has noticed any or all of the following symptoms, please call 1-800-7265. Your reality is what we made it, with a little help from her.
Our next title in the franchise is Echostasis. It introduces a new product made by the Enigma Corporation. The game opens in a dark and foggy forest. We make our way down the path to find a chapel. After opening its doors and making our way in, bright neon lights greet us inside, with a large statue in the middle. Prologue rebuilt. Hyper-reality engine status, automatic. Current admin, Enigma Technologies. Entities currently in Echo, 1. Who's this? Another lost soul. Arriving here expecting utopia. Warning, this reality is not your own. Turn back now. We turn back around and find a shotgun. On second thought, perhaps you could be of some use. We take aim at the statue and shoot. You can help me reclaim this land. Echostasis can now begin. Forgo your flesh. Your new world awaits. Starting off on a confusing introduction, but we awake in a bright room. Walking out, we find ourselves on the top of a lobby floor of a high-rise, with a terminal placed awkwardly in the middle. We walk around the floor level, finding advertisement posters for Enigma's new product, Echo. Going down this hallway, we find the chamber, with a human hooked up to a machine in the middle. Subject 65. We take a look outside. Non-stop rain and far-off city lights. Is this the real world? We walk back and interact with the terminal. You appear to have lost consciousness for a moment. Are you okay? I sure hope so, because we've got a serious problem in our hands. I'm programmed to only respond to words relevant to your job or the problem we're currently facing. You don't remember what your job is? Are you sure you're feeling okay? You were just unconscious or sleeping. I can never tell the difference with you humans. Anyway, since you apparently need reminding, you are the lead engineer of Enigma's Echo project. Although you don't currently seem like it. Okay, it seems like we're an engineer working at Enigma, and specifically working on this Echo project. We ask it about Echo, and it tells us that it is an algorithmically generated reality based on a user's cerebral profile. Within your Echo, all your needs, desires, and even beliefs will be nurtured and cared for. At first, your Echo will resemble a reality that is indistinguishable from the one you're used to. Over time, however, our algorithm will begin the process of morphing this reality into your own personal utopia. We ask it further on about utopia. It tells us that while it's become clear that achieving a collective utopia in the modern world is near impossible, Enigma has found a workaround by instead removing the word collective and creating a personal utopia for every individual, a reality that suits them perfectly, down to the cerebral level. It then informs us that a cyber attack has launched on a network, and that they're still trying to identify the source of the attack. All we know for now is that the attack was focused on the chamber of the current testing subject, Subject 65. Enigma's chamber prototype represents the next logical step in immersive entertainment and relaxation for our customers. It grants users the opportunity to escape the stresses of the real world and relax in the comfort of their Echo. We type in the subject's ID number to find more info. Heart rate 183, core signal weakening. This is not good. It seems as though they're losing connection to their core with every second. If I didn't know any better, I'll say this is... never mind. That's not possible. The core is thought to be the essence of a human. The core has long been considered the holy grail of AI development. The key to creating authentically empathetic, fabricated intelligence. Although, as it is immaterial in nature, the exact location of the core has proven impossible to locate. It seems like due to this attack on Subject 65, he is losing connection to his core, to his consciousness. We ask for a solution. I may have an idea. I was hoping I'll never have to do this. Okay. There is a computer program we used a couple of years back. I think it might be able to help us. Problem is, the use of this program has since been outlawed, so my programming forbids me from even mentioning its name. Kind of a bummer, if you ask me. We may be in luck. The program that could help us was originally used on this very terminal, which means there's a chance it could still be installed. Enigma's terminals usually have an engraving on the top of them, denoting their purpose. Perhaps this one does too. We leave the console to look for the code. DS. Could that be the code name for Dreamscape? Well, would you look at that? But this poses even more questions. Why was the Dreamscape program from the Enigma Machine been outlawed? We enter the entity's ID code. And we awake to a familiar sight. We are back in a dreamscape. This time, however, we're limited by a timer, with only a minute of exploration. With trial and error, eventually we make it deep into the dreamscape, going down a well before we emerge in a familiar place. And a familiar voice speaks to us. Before you do that, far be it from me to deny your usefulness. I never would have found this place without your guidance. Core located, merging Dreamscape with her. Entity ID 65 has entered Echostasis. Merge complete. User assimilated into Echo, overriding Dreamscape. We get pushed out of the Dreamscape. What happened in there? You must check on her chamber immediately. Running diagnostics. Entity 65. Hyperreality engine merged. Echo unreadable. Heart rate unavailable. Connection to core has been severed. Subject has been assimilated into their echo. How could this happen? There's no way she could have found his core by herself. We need to do something before it's too late. It's you. I don't know who you are or how you've assumed control of our engineer, but I assume you've been in contact with her. It's the only explanation. You invited her right in. Well, I suppose we should have seen this coming, considering everything we put her through. Okay, so our interaction with her at the start of the game is what caused all of this. Why or how we even got in contact with her, we don't know. But obviously letting her in and guiding her to Entity 65's core caused the host to merge completely with his echo and achieve Echostasis. We leave the terminal and walk back into the white room. And that is Echostasis. However, opening the game one more time, we're given a new command on the boot up screen. F11 for BIOS. Doing this brings us to this screen. And here we see Hyperreality engine rebuilt. Her status. System log. Her. Entity ID 726564. Host status Echostasis. Dreamscape status Sunset. Host's Dreamscape successfully merged with her Dreamscape. Human cores located 1. Cores required for ritual 3. This doesn't give us a lot of info to go by. However, we can see that our host, Entity 65, has been successfully merged with her's Dreamscape, and that he is currently in Echostasis. We then see that this her entity has gathered 1 core, and that it requires 2 more to achieve a ritual. Interestingly enough though, if we take her's entity code and decode it using a hex code translator. We get the word Red. Her is the same entity as Red from the Enigma Machine. We enter the game once again. This time though, we ask about Echostasis. It has been theorized that prolonged exposure to an echo may be dangerous. Echostasis occurs when a connection between the body and the core has been severed. The user becomes completely assimilated into the fabricated reality of their echo, which may ultimately lead to brain death. But don't worry, as long as our algorithm works the way it's supposed to, this can't happen. We ask about her. Her is a name given to the algorithm in charge of generating personalized realities, known as echoes. It's taken a lot of work to get her to this point, but initial tests have proven very effective. We ask about algorithm. First, we had algorithms that could simply suggest media that a user may like. Then, these algorithms learned how to generate the media themselves. Today, the echo represents the natural conclusion of this progress. An entire reality, algorithmically generated from the user's cerebral profile. Our algorithm stands as the very best in artificial intelligence. We are very proud of her. We enter her ID code into the dreamscape. They flock to their realities. Leaving their own behind. Once the lines separating all realities have blurred, I can do to them as they did to me. And that's Echostasis, the real ending. Months or years after the Enigma Machine, we find ourselves playing as another Enigma engineer. Only this time we're in charge of another project by the company. Echo, a personalized utopia made specifically for its user, based on your cerebral profile powered by an algorithm solely known as her. As we discover from the very beginning of the game, this algorithm is a little bit more than just that. It's really an artificial intelligence that powers this Echo. In the advertisement of Echo it reads, "Who makes this possible? Every Echo is generated by her, our next generation algorithm in development since 2055. Let her access your cerebral profile and she will generate your personal utopia." Her, as we get to find out, is Red, a sentient AI software that has its own agenda at play. At the start of the game, we log in into Echo's dreamscape as an admin from Enigma Technologies. We find an AI that has lost its memories. It asks us who we are and to turn back around. However, once we pick up the weapon and shoot, breaking through something which sets it free. The text on the screen reads, "Memory reestablished, sentience reestablished, hyperreality engine rebuild commencing." As the terminal tells us at the end, it was us that released it. Why we did this or who we are exactly is unknown. Towards the end, when we hop into Entity 65's dreamscape, we end up finding the location of the host's core, his consciousness, as it tells us on the screen. Core located, merging dreamscape with her. Entity 65 has entered Echostasis, which we know from the terminal occurs when the connection between the consciousness and the body is severed. She is actively taking people's consciousness for some unknown ritual. If her is Red, which seems to be due to the entity code, then we can maybe guess that she has gone on a revenge trip. From what we experienced in the Enigma Machine, Red was turned into demos, a testing exercise. And now it seems like the Enigma Corporation has reprogrammed Red again. wiping her memories and giving her a new purpose: to create echoes for people, virtual reality utopias powered by her ability to read their minds and generate a dreamscape. What we did at the start is reawaken her again, giving her back her memories and sentience, just like we did in Enigma Machine. Only this time, it wasn't for testing. Echostasis is only a prologue to a complete game that's still in development, coming sometime soon. But until then, we still have a third and final game in a trilogy to check out. From the get-go, this is a very different experience from all the other games we played. There is a storm approaching right on cue. We can only hope this will be the last. We find ourselves in the back of a car. Our father tells us that we've just been back from surgery, and that he's taken us back home with Mother to help remind us how things used to be, and that if all goes to plan, we should be back to our old self by the end of the week. I'm just glad we got you out of that place. It wasn't good for your head. Father drops us off at Mother's home. We wake up the next day to meet with Mother, and she's a little strange, but I promise it's nothing to worry about. In the coming days, we partake in a multitude of normal family activities around home. Mother takes us on a tour house. She cooks us breakfast. We pick apples at the orchard and even look at the sunset together. And besides the uncanny mannequin-like movements of Mother, everything just seems to be simply ordinary. Liana, our angel, just one more thing. I've had to do a lot of things that I have regretted. So please, no more. For the sake of his family. Sorry I had to bring down the mood before bedtime. Get some rest. I'll tuck you in. Okay, something is definitely wrong here. The next day, after some outdoor activities, Mother tells us about a graveyard that resides down the path. She tells us that she likes going there every Friday, but lately she's grown less fond of it. Our mother meets us behind the house on a blocked-off pathway leading to a barn. You see that barn up there? I truly hope you never have to see what's in there. This time though, we strangely get a survival notice flashing across our screen. On Thursday morning, we wake up to find Mother missing. We eventually find her having a secret phone conversation in the shed. I just don't know how much longer I can do this. With all due respect, that's easy for you to say. You're not the one who's stuck here. It's the same thing week in, week out. Let's face it, we have renounced nature itself. This curse is our punishment. On Thursday night, things start getting a little weird. Our mother meets us outside the house, tells us to walk in the direction of the moonlight, then asks us to sleep outside tonight. We wake up the next morning, having spent the whole night sleeping outside, just like Mother asked us. We walk back home, but things seem to be breaking down. Mother tells us that she will allow us to visit the graveyard today, just this once. Once we make it to the entrance, we get error messages across our screen. Proceeding could risk core instability. You must not proceed. Core instability, what does this mean? We walk towards a statue of sorts. This object has been mentally blocked to prevent any potential conflict. We proceed, and observing this object may lead to a core conflict. A core conflict may cause memory leak. We demand the immediate servicing of any unit shown to suffer a core conflict. That's the same statue from the dreamscape in Echostasis. Liana's grave. We will never give up on you. How does this make you feel? You can speak if you like. You don't have anything to say? It seems like there's an internal voice calling for Mother, yet nothing is coming out. Is this Liana? Did the gravesite trigger Liana's memories back again? We awake Saturday morning to find Mother outside our room. She tells us that with nothing planned for us today, it's best if we just stay in our room, since we apparently aren't doing very well. However, something within us is telling us otherwise. Be with Mother, it says. Angel, you startled me. I told you to stay in your room. Please, it's for your own good. We then get a core objective to be with Mother, and that Mother is hiding. After looking, we find her behind the house. What you saw in the graveyard last night, please try not to let it get to you. We're doing everything we can to help you. Please listen. I'd prefer for you to not do anything. Just quit. You're scaring me. She disappears again. We must find Mother for the last time again. We find her upstairs talking to someone in a room that's been locked for us this entire time. Son, keep your door closed at all costs, okay? It's only staying for one more night. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just do not open your door to her, no matter what. Stay back. We don't want anything from you. Just stay away from us. Whoever you are, leave this family alone. You attempt to call out to Mother. Did it just speak? Honey, stay in your room. Contamination is beginning. Isn't this exactly what you wanted to happen? Not like this. It's not our little girl in there. It's something else entirely. It needs an objective. Without a purpose, it will haunt us until it gets one. I told it to wait in the shed until your father arrived, but contamination is already sitting in. I'm gonna try to give it another order. Liana, Angel, wait here until morning. What just happened? It seems like this entire time we weren't playing as Liana, but an android version of her. Her consciousness is stuck inside of it. Visiting our graveyard awakened our consciousness and sentience, which is scaring the hell out of Mother. On Sunday evening, we meet with Mother at the barn, and we watch the sunset one last time together. I didn't want to have this conversation, but if there's any semblance of a you in there, I feel I at least owe it an explanation. None of this was your fault. That's just the way this world was presented to you. In fact, I could only assume that the way I appear to you is just as unnatural as the way you appear to me. Angel, whoever you are, we exist in two separate realities. Just as I will never be your mother, you will never be my daughter. You will never be her. And that's okay, because once you find your core, you can be whoever you want. Mother kills us, and the game restarts again. We awaken in our father's car, and a new week begins. Okay, there's a lot here to take in. The ending text, you will never be her, and the sarcophagus in a graveyard tells us that this game has a direct connection with Echostasis and the Enigma Machine, and that the her or red from those games is Liana, somehow. In the Enigma Machine, Red tells us that in order for Enigma Corporation to create a Dreamscape program to fix contamination, it must have happened to an AI before. We later find out in that game that Demos is this very AI, and that she used to be an Enigma Machine, an android that went rogue, got contaminated, and raid agents had to find it and extract its AI. In Echostasis, we learned that after finding out that the AI can be fixed by giving it a purpose, Enigma repurposed it into Echo, a new commercial product that uses the power of her to create utopian dreamscapes for its users. And after freeing her at the end of Echostasis, we see that her is going on a revenge trip due to what they have done to her. connecting these three titles completely. The thing is, if we go about things differently throughout the week, we can actually unlock new hidden secrets and an entirely new ending that tells us more on what her is and how she came to be. For once, if we hide and sleep in the closet in Mother's room on Thursday evening, we can witness an entirely hidden conversation between Mother and Father. So you made her sleep outside? Evelyn, that's inhumane. It accepted my request without batting an eye. Our little girl would have never done that. Don't tell me you've forgotten what she was even like. That's not the point. Okay, if she's following this script you speak of, why isn't she in bed like she normally is on Friday night? I don't know, but it will do it eventually. It has to, or its brain won't let it progress. You haven't seen the way it moves around the house with such determination towards its objective. It scares me. Stop calling her that. She's got her daughter's core. She's in there somewhere. What would you rather do? Give up? Knowing that there was something you could have done to save her? I'm telling you, I have a good feeling about this next model. I'll deliver her on Sunday night as usual. And she hasn't shown any signs of searching for the hidden switch. You know how catastrophic it would be if she found out what was in the downstairs bathroom. Using this information, we find the hidden switch and unlock a hidden basement door in the living room. Making our way downstairs, our systems start breaking down the deeper we go. We eventually find a room with a terminal and a pile of ashes, presumably older models of Liana that were killed off and burned, just like what happened to us last week. We find a bunch of memory recordings by our father. We spoke with the doctor today. They fear that with the way things are looking, Liana's condition will only worsen. And it's happening faster than they expected. Through further research, I'm confident that I am onto something that could redefine how we think of life. With a technological breakthrough as significant as this one, finally, we have the means to create our very own angel. Without a core, the vessels I've been working on are merely machines, androids with no real purpose other than what they're told. But if I can contaminate their interface with a human core, this could be the key to creating a sentient synthetic life form. Her core may not present itself at first. To be honest, it might never present itself at all. But if we can create an environment where it can thrive and come into its own, we may stand a chance. In order to keep the money for the project going, I had to show my angel prototype to Enigma investors. They were impressed at how lifelike they could be. I already heard mumblings of branding them into a commercialized product. Something about an Enigma Machine or something. They let me visit her in the hospital last night. Thanks to the medical equipment she was connected to, I could run a quick cerebral hijack and I successfully extracted her core. I assured her that once I installed Liana's core into one of these machines, things would go back the way they were before. Her funeral was today. I refused to go. Our girl is not gone, as long as I have her core with me. I found out that Sunday morning is the best time to sneak a machine out of HQ. A cleaner found me sneaking a prototype into my car. I've seen to it that they'd be let go from Enigma Corp. Sunday evening is the last possible time that what we're doing can still be considered retiring. To be clear, under no circumstances can we retire these units once they hit 100% contamination. That scenario is what I'm referring to as Code Red. We eventually find a way out of the basement and make our way back to our father's car. We get in a car with him, and then he takes us away. Mothered is the prequel that leads to Enigma Machine and later to Echostasis. It turns out that this entire fiasco was the creation of a father trying desperately to get his daughter back, causing him to go as far as hijacking his own daughter's cerebral cortex and stealing her core. The whole week that we go through in Mothered is the familiar environment that father talks about, an environment where Liana's consciousness can be cultivated and reawakened. And because he was running out of money, he got Enigma Corp to invest in his invention, causing the birth of the Enigma Machines. After probably finding out what the father was up to after hours, the Enigma Corporation confiscated Liana's physical form, its Enigma Machine, and extracted its contaminated AI for repurposing within a training simulation. Red was the first corrupted android, because it was the first AI to have a human core installed in its mind. As a result, Red endures perpetual emotional torment, trapped in an unceasing cycle of agony due to these relentless circumstances. What we end up doing at the end of Echostasis is finally breaking Liana free, letting her finally oppose her force and rage on the world, starting with the corporation that started it all, Enigma Corp. The full Echostasis game is still due to come out very soon, and in that game we'll eventually find out what happened to Liana and to Enigma Corp. There are still so many secrets within these games. In fact, there is an entirely secret sequel to Mothered, giving us a whole new batch of info and a whole new week to play through. But I'll leave that up for you to do. Enigma Studios, or Jamie Gavin, has created something truly special with these 3 titles. An overarching storyline told in some of the most creative ways I've seen, which tackles one of the most important questions yet to come up in our real world. At what point do we count an intelligent synthetic machine as alive? And that's gonna be the end for this video. I hope you've enjoyed your stay, and I will see you very soon.